Welcome to episode 4 of the Yapify podcast. My name is Lydia.
And I'm Keelan, and today we will be discussing Lemonade by Beyoncé. All right, and we'll start this week just like we'll start every single time. We're going to start with talking tunes, and I'll go ahead and start if you're okay with that. So I'll start with my album, actually, and I just wanted to do this album kind of as a plug because a band that we both know and love, The Dip, just released a new album actually on Friday, this past Friday, and it's called Love Direction. And so I just wanted to make that my album. I haven't listened to it a ton yet, but I've listened to it enough to say that it's my album this time around. So, yes.
So do you know what number album this is? Is there like
Um,
third?
this is, I think this is 4, but
Four.
technically it's
Yeah.
not 4 because they have like
Mm,
instrumental albums and stuff like that, which I haven't listened to all that much, but like the main
yeah.
ones, it's number 4. So,
Yeah, I haven't listened to the only song I know off the album is the one that they played at the show. Because they play the single at the show we went to. Yeah. For
yes.
that
So little
one.
little lore drop actually. This
Yeah.
in the spring semester, the two of us we went to see this band, The Dip, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And basically it's like a rock band, traditional rock band with like a horn section. So that was really, really
Hmm.
cool. And I think what you're saying is that you heard like all the singles. So like Love Direction, the like title song, they did that
Yeah.
one. Doing the Thing, they did that
Mm-hmm.
one, and they did Fill My Cup.
Hmm.
I think they also did some others that are on there that we could
Yeah.
discuss, but
But yeah, that show is probably one of my favorite concerts I've been to. Just because I don't know, they're good artists and like the venue wasn't that I don't know, I liked the place where it was. So yeah. I think something that like I've been following I've been following them on Instagram ever since then. And I don't know. I love watching just like their little updates and they just released a vinyl too. So for the new album. So it looks cool.
yeah, I would say kind of my highlight of the album that I hadn't heard before is this song called Head on a Swivel. I think they played it at the concert, but I don't remember hearing it. I think I remember them saying like, "Hey, this is a song that's a new one," but I don't remember hearing it. But it's really cool.
Yeah. And I talking about the instrumental albums you're mentioning. I remember that was like a highlight of like just the experience for me. I would be interested to like listen to that. Like
Yeah.
that came before like all their other stuff. They're just like purely instrumental.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Hmm.
You know, Dip is epic.
I remember at the
Ever.
concert there was that whole like they had a whole little like interlude where it was just the
Yeah.
horns and it was
It,
so together. It was insane.
yeah, they're
So,
insane.
yes.
Like if you're in need of hearing some very sax solos, that that's a good place.
There you go. All right,
Very
you're
good
up.
place. Okay, my album of the week is Tapestry by Carole King. Um, I'll talk about this again for my artist, but I think my physical condition kind of like plays into my music for this episode because I've just been getting a lot of headaches. And so I've been trying to like seek out like very like mellow and like music, because I also had to like drive a lot. So I was like, okay, what's not gonna make me explode? And yeah, I've this album is iconic. I love it so much. I think it was released in it was in the 70s. I don't know what year, but I don't know if you know the songs. For some of the popular ones are like Where You Laid I Will Follow. But yeah, I think the songwriting on the album is just very, I think it like wears its heart on its sleeve, which I really appreciate. And it's kind of just like the perfect mix of like hope but also like sad. So it's like I don't feel like crying, but it's also like I can like access a bunch of different feelings and like had a bunch of different experiences. And yes, the songwriting and her vocal ability on the album is top notch. So that is my album.
All right, you may have said the name, but for some reason I spaced out. So what's the album again?
It's Tapestry by
Okay.
Carole King.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
It's like, do you want to visualize it? It's like her, and then she has her little gray. I think it's like a gray tabby. I love
Okay.
the album art, and when you listen to it on Spotify, it has like like if you pull up like like some of them have videos, and it's just like her cat like lounging, and it's just the best vibe. But yeah, and I have this like personal thing I do. Like I have this playlist called DNA, where for a song to be on this playlist, it has to like meet some criteria. Like, but there's this one song from the album that I put in our Yapify playlist called So Far Away. And that one, like, by second listen, I was like, yeah, this one's bucks. But yeah, it's very, very good. I don't know, very telling of the experience.
Yeah, I think what threw me off was your shirt. Like I spaced out a little bit and I heard it, but then I was like, maybe it was Dolly. I was like, I'm not sure. But is is
Ollie?
is Carole King like is this like an older artist or is it like a
Yeah.
more modern?
No, it was released in the 1970s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So classic. Okay.
So it's a classic.
Yes.
And yeah, they did an episode about Carole King on Glee.
Oh,
So
that'll do it.
that's how you, yeah, that's how you know
That's how you
she
know you've
is.
made it. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
how you know.
they did that song on Glee. So
Cool.
anyway, artist.
Well, yeah. My artist. This is actually kind of a cool one. Um, and it's mostly because uh, I was reminded of them because when I was shopping in Spain, I was at this Adidas store where I got like a Spain jersey because I am a big fan of the Spain national team. Of course, the US national team also, but also Spain. Um, and so I was shopping for a jersey and I was sitting in this really long line for the dressing room and they started playing this song and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is a song that I've never heard by this group," because I recognize the voice. But my artist is The Roots. Um,
Oh,
so you may know them from uh
yeah.
Jimmy Fallon and being on his show and being his band. But what you may not know is that they've had this whole, before they were on his show, like this whole decades long career of making stuff. And so it's really cool. My dad is kind of the first one to introduce me to them. I like them a lot because the rapper, his name is Black Thought. He's like the leader, I guess. He's my favorite rapper in existence. That may not be a popular take, but I feel like most people that know rap respect him and they're like, yeah, he's legit. So first of all, he's good. And then take an actual live band. You put a rapper with an actual live band that's playing stuff and like playing. They sampled some things in their songs, but it's mostly like live music with a rapper. So I think that's really cool. Yes.
And I know this is kind of unrelated, not the same jersey, but you gotta plug
Oh yeah. Little Spotify. Spotify.
little spot.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to mess with this so it says Yapify because this FC Barcelona
yeah.
jersey says
You can
Spotify. That's no
do
good.
some DIY.
Yeah, DIY.
DIY.
I'll scrape off some
Yeah.
letters. Yes.
Arts and crafts. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's super cool. I definitely like the I mainly know them from just the show, but definitely want to check them out. And so what was the song? The name of the song that you said that you were unfamiliar with?
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I pulled out Shazam as I do. I was like, "Oh, what is
Oh,
this song?" So I whipped out my phone and I hit Shazam. The song's called "What They Do."
mm,
So I'll put it
okay.
on the Yapify playlist and all
Yes.
that good stuff. So,
I feel like what's the extent you would go to Shazam something?
what do you mean?
Like what's what's the oddest setting you would Shazam something? Like say like you're in a very serious setting, would you Shazam it?
Like what? Like a meeting or something?
Like a meeting?
Well, it depends. It depends. Not every song deserves to be Shazammed. So that's what I thought you were saying. Because for me,
Oh,
like if it's either a song that I'm like, hey, I know this artist, but I don't know this song, I'll Shazam. Or I'll Shazam if I'm like, hey, I like this song sounds cool. I have no idea what it is, but it sounds cool. Or I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. Or I'm like,
yeah.
wait a second, that's a song that I've heard all the time, but I never knew the name of. I want to learn the name of this song. So,
I know I've gone to some pretty extents. I think I've stood on a cafeteria table once.
yeah, I mean,
But
for me, the best place to go is the bathroom. So I've been known to like, I'm having like a conversation or at the dinner table and I hear a song, and then all of a sudden I have to go to the bathroom, and I'm like, sorry guys, I have to go to the bathroom. But I
every
don't.
while
But I don't. That's the secret. I don't actually. I just go.
it's not a secret anymore.
Well, what do you mean? Like I'm even gonna get found out?
The whole world knows now.
No, no, the people that I pull this on will not listen to this. So,
Okay,
all right, you're artist.
artists. Okay. This might be a little bit controversial, not for the general public, but for the context of this conversation we're having. Um, because I know we've had conversations about this person before. And my artist of the week is Noah Kahan.
Oh, wonderful.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Anyway, yeah, I think Noah Kahan is another example of headache music. I don't something I put on when I want to listen to music or need to listen to music when well okay, this is very surface level. This is how I started really getting into it because a lot of my friends are into him. And I mean, I feel like I'm very with the small exceptions. Um I'm always one to like not like knock anyone's like I don't know. I feel like some things I kind of just like keep quiet about. So like maybe I had some preconceived notions, but I was just like staying quiet a little bit. But then I finally got into it and I was like, oh wait, I really, really like this. And people have what they have to say about Noah Kahan weather, but I honestly think summer is also Noah Kahan weather. I've been rolling the windows down and listening to him like on my way home. But yeah, I am also a sucker for acoustic guitar and also sucker for some good lyrics. So Match Made in Heaven. And the song that I put on the playlist has been stuck in my head for the past like week. So yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I like acoustic guitar too, but if it's just all the same thing, like I don't really know. Like I know it's different, but I was just gonna say that I feel like I haven't seen enough Noah Khan haters out in the world. Like it seems like he has no ops except for one. I don't know who that individual might be, but I know that he might have one up. Um, but it's mostly I think it's mostly for me. The reason that I've had an aversion to him is just like I just can't really get behind TikTok music, and like
Yeah.
I can't help but feel like it's TikTok music just because like and good for him for blowing up and like people loving his music, but like I can't help but feel like, oh, this is just like a TikTok guy that blew up on TikTok and now everyone loves him. So,
Yeah. I would have to disagree. I don't think he's TikTok music. I think I don't know. If you give it the whole album a listen, I think it will surprise you. But another thing, so the song I put on there is called Paul Revere, and I don't know. I don't know if it's one of his more popular ones. I look at like the like popular releases section on Spotify, and I didn't see it there. But like, it has to be one of his like more known ones because like it's I don't know. I've heard it a lot, and I love it. And also he did a collab with Brandy Carlisle, who I absolutely love and adore. So yeah, I don't know. It's been a vibe. I'm on my Noah Khan arc.
cool. And I respect it. I respect other people's no con arcs, but I don't know if mine will ever happen.
Ever?
Here's to hoping. Here's to hoping. I don't know.
Anyway, lemonade. There's a
Lemonade,
lot.
crunchy ice. Sip it
If it
once,
want.
sip it
And
twice.
uh, so I guess we can start like what was your experience with lemonade before going into this?
Uh, well, I don't know. I think I'll take a step back and talk about my experience with Beyoncé,
Okay, okay,
actually,
okay.
before I
Okay.
talk about Lemonade. Um,
Yes.
I don't know. So Beyoncé, kind of my Beyoncé is like Sasha Fierce era. So the people that know, yeah. So like the Halo and like Crazy in Love, like that era is very much my Beyonce. So I haven't listened to much of the modern stuff until Cowboy Carter when we had that listening party and we were
Yeah.
like our minds were just blown. Um, but I think you can very much see, and we'll talk about it. I think you can very much see the beginnings of that type of stuff with this album, I guess. Kind of my experience with this is I knew it came out. I'm I wish I had done research on if it won Grammys or not. I think it probably did. But I think I just heard about that and then like I knew a few of these songs. So like from the Super Bowl halftime show, Formation, and the biggest one that I knew was actually Daddy Lessons. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was my that was my experience with this leading up to this.
Yeah. I forgot to mention, but this episode is actually this album was picked from uh a devoted follower of Yapify. We posted on Instagram asking what album we should cover. So we're gonna choose episode 4 to go over one. And so yeah, whoever submitted this, you know who you are. And I actually, my experience with Lemonade before we started this podcast was sitting down and watching the visual album with said individual. So yeah, that was my only um experience. Obviously I knew some songs, but yeah, I never had listened to all of the tracks without the visuals. That was my first experience. And yeah.
Uh, just I guess the last thing I'll say before we start is kind of it was really interesting to me having no idea, even like just like 48 hours ago, having no idea what this album was even about, to now being like, Jay-Z, you asshole. Um, so that's
Yeah.
definitely interesting. And I think that this album is really, really cool because I was saying like, to me, this is album number 5, I believe, like official album. And I think it's really interesting because it's like a bridge between my Beyoncé that I know and then the Beyoncé that has made like Renaissance and Cowboy Carter. Like it's a totally like doing earth-shattering things. So like this album
Yeah.
I read like all like her other ones before this, she made banger after banger, but they were like to please like the publishing company or the record company, whereas this one is her being real. So I think that's really cool.
I guess I thought I've forgotten that I wanted to mention this, but you mentioned like the Grammys and stuff, and also mentioning like what you just said about like her previous work kind of being more like about like the production and like how it's like perceived. For I remember a part of Adele's speech when she won was basically she was giving a huge shout to Beyonce in this album and saying that like she was so thankful for this album because it was basically a window into a side of Beyonce that she did not let the public see a lot. And yeah, I feel like that couldn't be further from the truth. Very vulnerable album, especially with all the media and attention surrounding it before it was released. Like the situation in general.
I didn't
But
even
anyway,
know
yeah.
this happened. I didn't even know this happened. So
What?
let's begin.
Yeah, let's begin.
Jay-Z, you asshole. Let's start with pray. Let's start with pray you catch me.
Yeah, this one's so sad. This is heartbreaking. I think it's kind of a perfect opening though. This is one of my favorites on the whole album.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think um it's kind of like what I thought about it is just like I mean, obviously just from listening to the lyrics, like she's just waiting for something to happen, like waiting for something to be acknowledged. And like I feel like that's a perfect way to start it. And another thing that I'll mention throughout this is so in the visual album, she labels each track with a stage of her grief. So this first one is intuition.
Okay.
So it's
Interesting.
basically just like her knowing, yeah, her knowing something's up.
Yeah. I think for this one, it's actually like something that stood out to me was how it opened with just like the vocal parts like slowly adding in. And I saw something that was like, this is her, this song is kind of just like in her mind, like in her subconscious. But I also wrote that this is like the sussy song. So she's like sussy of him.
Yeah.
So
And I think, yeah, I think a lot of like what makes the first, like this being the first track really impactful is not only the fact that like she's basically confirming everything that happened. Like she's like addressing it head on in the first track. And then also I think like another thing is like she's not only like hoping that she like something finally happens so they discuss it, but she's like saying, I'm praying you catch me like catching on. Like I want you to notice that I'm noticing type of thing.
yeah.
Which is such a painful like experience. But yeah, this song is one it's I don't know. It's
Do you
untouchable.
do you know any of the lore of like what happened? Like who it
Uh
was or like any of that stuff?
I don't. All
Okay.
I know is all I've gotten the impression is that like around 2015 the rumors were speculating and then this dropped in 2016 and Jay-Z definitely like publicly confirmed that he was unfaithful and yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I basically know.
Yeah.
I
You're
don't know if I'd want. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I do think I'm not surprised because he's like a rapper and it's like that's I don't know. It's messed
Mm,
up, but that's like almost part of the culture and like what you're expected to do. So,
yeah.
and we can talk about that stuff like black identity and stuff as we go on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hold up. Are you ready to move to that? Okay.
This one, she labeled this one as denial.
Yeah, okay. This one is like
I
one of the I feel like I've tried to listen to this album before unsuccessfully. So I feel like I've somehow heard this one because after like just the first time, I had it stuck in my head. Like this one is so catchy.
yeah,
This
it is
one.
really really catchy.
Hold up.
And I
They
think
don't love you like I love you. Yeah.
I think this one is like in this one her like being territorial just kind of like shows off. And to give a visual in the I don't know, it might ring a bell because like I think you might have like seen the video without like knowing you've seen the video. She's like in this like yellow flowy floor length dress, the baseball bat, and just like smash stuff in this city. And a lot of people gave her flack for it because they're like, how you're portraying yourself. But that's kind of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I feel like this track and then the next two tracks are kind of her just trying to say like, look at what you lost. Not only in the terms of like what we had, like I'm
Yeah.
Beyonce.
Yeah. And I
Like yeah.
yeah, and I think we'll get a little bit of that like 2 songs from now, which we can talk
Mm-hmm.
about that. But yeah, I really like this one. I don't think like some of the tracks I put a star next to, like new favorite alert. This isn't
Yeah.
quite to that level, but for me, it's like I'll continue to listen to this song. Maybe not so
Yeah.
much Pray You Catch Me, but this one definitely. So
I feel like I don't know. I'd be alarmed if you were like, "Oh, let me put on Pray Catch Me." Like, what are you going through? Anyway,
yeah, so yeah.
but the next track, "Don't Hurt Yourself." One thing I took away from the album, and I'll have a Boy Carter, and also every other thing that I have perceived Beyonce has released, she knows how to do a feature. I feel like, yeah, I feel like some like artists, like I don't know, they don't. Sometimes they just don't get it right. But she I don't know, it's always just the right amount, the right amount of like their presence in the track and just also like their influence like stylistically.
Yeah, yeah.
And we don't have to we
Levi's jeans. Levi's jeans.
or what is it? Most wanted. Duh. Yeah.
You
But yeah,
actually
this one,
you actually took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say that I was gonna introduce that idea because I feel like across this album, like all the features are like perfect for the person.
yeah,
So
yeah. I think yeah, her the way she collaborates with people and like yeah, I don't know. I see it especially like with what she did with Miley. But anyway, that is a whole other thing. Um,
yes.
I think this one to me, like just the way it sounds, I love the rock influence. I could see myself repeating this all the time. Just like the breakdown of it.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
funny. It's funny that I mentioned stars because this is one of my stars. Like
Really?
the whole synth, like I feel like it would
Yeah.
do that. Like um, and the lyrics are pretty badass. Like I'm the
Yeah.
like when you love me, love yourself, love God herself. I'm the dragon breathing fire. Like, okay, that goes
And
hard.
you scroll up a little bit. The part where it's like basically saying like you're not loving me hard enough, we're not reaching peaks enough. My
Mm.
jaw was just like on the floor. I was just
Yeah,
like dang. I don't know, but like I feel like that's like such a accurate statement to the situation she was in. And I think this one also just like plays on like her like status and power she has and just like her worth.
hmm.
Just like
Well, I know this one is obviously we're in like the kind of the most intense, like angry part of the album right here.
yeah.
But to me, I really like this one because it gives me the energy of like, yeah, she's in a rock band, but she's like doing the thing where like the mic is on the stand and she's like leaning over with the stand and just like screaming into it. That's the energy I get from this one.
And I
Like,
mean we can talk about yeah. I you should if I don't keep saying this, but like in the you need to watch the video for this one because she's like just like in a garage and it's just crazy. It's craziness. But and I think something that like just speaks about like Beyonce as an artist and like just this album in general is just like I think one of her greatest like accolades. Obviously, she's like has pipes for days, art artistic vision, creativity for days, but like her genre blending is crazy.
yeah, that's
And
true.
like there's so many different like sounds represented in this album. Also in like just like singular tracks. It's just
Cray cray.
cray cray. Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. This is another catchy one. And
Yeah.
hands
Mhm.
down, my favorite part of this one is the middle fingers up. Tell him boy bye. Yeah, whip him in his face. Tell him boy bye. Yeah, that's so legendary.
I what were you singing? It reminded me of like the three little clicks. I don't know if it's three, but like two, like in the middle of the song happens all the time. It's like and then it, like the beat drops. I love it. Oh no, I was listening to this song this morning, and me and the people in my car were just like having the time of our life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one is like definitely we haven't gotten to my favorite, but this is definitely up there. Love it. I feel like this one is just like this is what I want to listen to. Like this is what I wish they would play at the club, not the not the stuff that they do.
Yeah. I almost feel like they played this one at Beyonce night, honestly.
Clocking me. Maybe they did. Maybe they did. Maybe I didn't appreciate it enough at the time.
I didn't either, so there's that. I knew like one song, so yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this one's just badass, and I think it's interesting. Taking a look at. Did you listen to this one where it had the demo?
I I listened to it, but I definitely listened to the other one more.
Okay, so we can just skip over the demo at the end, and I'll just talk about it now because
Okay.
we don't really need to talk about it. I just think it's interesting because this one is much more like, it's like a little more peppy sounding, and it's
Yeah.
like it's more of like a girl boss anthem, whereas the
Mm,
demo, if you listen to it more, it's like more of an R&B, like lo-fi. So it's kind of it's a vibe in that way, but it's like it would have been a very interesting trajectory. I feel like it fits this version fits better between Don't Hurt Yourself and 6 inch because it's still kind of intense. But I feel like
yeah.
going from Don't Hurt Yourself to the demo version would be weird. So I'm glad she did it the way she did. But
This
so
one's definitely a favorite for me. I can't get over it. But yeah. And I found it really interesting.
6 inch.
Yeah. Are
Okay.
you ready to move on?
Yes. Yes.
She said this one is labeled emptiness, which I feel is, I think a lot of this like album and also just like a lot of like music in general is like contradictory, where like maybe the production's one way, or like the vibe is one way, the lyrics are another thing, or like the meaning behind the lyrics I feel are another thing. So I think this is an example of that. But yeah. Yeah.
Well, from my understanding, kind of, and what I don't know, I read this online and I kind of agree with it. I think track 5 and track 6, like 6 Inch and Daddy Lessons, are not part of the main story. Like everything else is part of one story, but these two are like kind of taking a break and like going
Yeah.
somewhere else. So this one to me is more about like I don't even know, like a stripper or something, or like a girl like that that doesn't need a man. So this is like a little story of a girl who doesn't need a man because that's what Beyonce is thinking about right now. So
I could also, I mean, I could see it both ways. I could also see it as like this being kind of like the cycle she falls into because of like everything that happened, or because of like how painful the situation is. Because they're talking about like, oh, she pushes herself hard, like, and about like wealth and like all of her work and stuff. But like at the end of the day, no, I just see a part of like it being like that's kind of like a surf level type of like shell that like the girl in this track, like who the track is referring to, just like that's kind of like the guard she puts up, and like that's her persona that like she plays for herself and other people. But yeah, I did
yeah,
want to mention the bridge. The bridge and the ending is crazy. Again, I love the weekend on this one, but just like Beyonce's vocal performance in the like for like the stars in her eye stuff and just like all that stuff in the middle is absolutely just, like love, like it's just absolutely elevating, and I just love it. I don't know.
yeah,
I think
yeah. Something I told myself today is that I wasn't gonna be afraid of offending people with my thoughts.
hmm,
So I don't know if this is their favorite, this song, but this was one of my least favorites actually. But that's saying something because I still enjoyed it, but it wasn't
yeah.
my favorite because I'm gonna be frank. I hate the weekend. Like I do not enjoy the weekend at all.
Really?
But yes, like at all. Like probably more than Noah Khan. I dislike the weekends. But it's okay because in this one, whenever I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, yes. Like this is a good use of the weekend. Like if I'm listening
Hmm.
to the weekend, I'm like, gosh, this all sounds exactly the same. But the vibe of the song just fit like his voice perfectly. So I could
So
appreciate that.
yeah. To clarify, I love, like, I don't really listen to the weekend a lot. I just love the voice. I don't know. I think I've definitely like, I don't know. I think his voice is unique and it's something I enjoy. But yeah, I think this one also was kind of low for me, but none of them, like, I don't know, I enjoy all of them. But yeah.
Daddy lessons.
Ugh, there's so much here.
Yes.
Okay. What
So
were
so going back to Beyonce night, I remember it was funny because I knew this song,
hmm,
but like we were with a group and like people knew like Renaissance songs and stuff like that. But like when this
hmm.
song came on, I just started going off because I actually knew this one. And they're like, "How do you know this song?" And I'm like, "What can I say? I know a banger. Okay, I know a banger when I hear it." So,
Yeah. Is this your favorite off the album?
I mean,
Mm,
it's definitely top 5 for me. But I'm gonna let it not maybe like number 2 or 3, but I'm not gonna let it be number 1. I'm gonna give that to a song that I didn't know before I listened to it. Okay.
see, this is my number one. And I think I knew it vaguely, but I think what I'm about to drop on you is about to broaden your appreciation for diet lessons. So the whole, I think I've talked to you about this before, and if you know the lore that I'm getting ready to drop, just feel free to stop me in my tracks. But basically, the CMAs, the year that this came out, I'm pretty sure Beyonce performed this song with the Dixie Chicks, who they're country artists who are like extremely blacklisted, like from the country music community and circle, because of just a bunch of like social political views they take. And um basically no one knew that Beyonce was, I mean, I don't think a lot of people knew that Beyonce was going to be performing this song at the CMAs, but she also kept a very big secret that she was rehearsing with Dixie Chicks, gonna bring them on. And they ate down. It's one of, like, I don't know. I feel like obviously Beyonce has a bunch of show-stopping performances, but this one really stands out for me. And just like the vibe and like the band and her vocal performance and everything. And basically, Cowboy Carter was kind of like inspired by this experience because she went to the CMAs and with the Dixie Chicks, and everyone was so upset that she was there and that she was performing. And so she went on record saying that like Cowboy Carter was made out of an experience where I did not feel welcomed, and it was so clear that I wasn't. And it's like basically her going into country music and like exploring that, even though people are so against it,
Yeah.
because I
Being
think it could
racist will
belong.
do that. Being racist will
Yeah.
do that. So, um, yeah. Well, this song's a. I think the only reason I'm not giving it number one is just because I knew it already, and I don't want to be like, well, actually, I knew the best song already, so I don't want to be like that. So, I don't know. I really enjoy like the little horn intro.
Mm-hmm.
I think where it's like 40 seconds where there's just like nothing but jamming going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, this one, I don't know. I think what, I don't know. It's what she did with Cowboy Carter. I just love it to pieces. And I love this song so much. And like, it talks a lot about like generational like trauma and what she went
Mhm.
through and everything. And it's just like, it's one of those like things where it's like, if you look at the lyrics, it's so sad, but it's a vibe when you just like listen to it for the
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah, it is sad, but I'm trying to think of what I was gonna say. I forgot. Yeah, it's very I don't know. We can just move on. I don't know. And if I remember it, I'll say it again. But
This one I think is like where she kind of like turns around the story.
Love Drought.
Yeah.
Okay, I actually just remembered what it was about daddy lessons.
Okay, what?
So I was saying that like 5 and 6 are like two vignettes or like little stories. I think this one,
Yeah.
Daddy Lessons, is just more about like it's still about her, but it's less about the situation and like more
Yeah.
about her trauma, I guess. But also like her dad basically says like or she says somewhere like my dad told me to watch out for guys like you. So
Yeah.
that type of stuff. Okay, so Love
Mhm.
Drought,
Mhm.
turning it around.
Turning it around.
You and me
I think,
can
yeah.
solve this love drought. So true, so true.
So true, Queen. Speak your truth. I think a lot of like what is like very like, I don't know, what stops to me with this album, just like the themes of it, it's just she. feels so like almost like spiritually and like attached to like the relationship. So like even if she wanted to leave, she feels like she can't. It's just like kind of like and like I think like through this like song, it's just like, describing like the magnetic force and like connection between her and JC. Yeah, it's kind of like giving the benefit of the doubt and acknowledging what is there still.
Yeah. And I think that's good. I think too often, like, it's the whole like burn it all situation. You don't often see this type of thing where it's like, yeah, I'm pissed off at you, and you're like, I'm so sad that you did this, but like, it's interesting because in this situation, I feel like so often society paints the picture of like the guy cheats and then he has to like apologize and yada yada yada. This is so one-sided. This is all her thoughts and all her stuff, and it's basically by the end, like, I forgive you. She's forgiving him. He's not like she's the authority figure. I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's her taking back her power in a
Yeah.
way.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I think it's something like I think the best songs or like songs that like have the most weight to me are what you said, like not everything kind of has to be black and white. Like it's kind of like exploring like the gray area, like two things being true at the same time. And I think it just makes it like really, I don't know. It's a very mature, and I think that like it's something that everyone can learn from. Not necessarily like her actions or like saying that like everyone should make the same choice as she did, but just like I don't know. It's clear that like the love she had for like their relationship is true because she keeps talking about like I don't know, just like everything like past like the superficial stuff. Like I deeply like care for like you and what we had.
Yes.
But yeah.
Ugh. I like the synth part on this one, but Sandcastles. I
Mm-hmm.
should start off this one by saying, I actually made a song in my songwriting class this past semester called Sandcastles. So I don't know why Beyonce would steal our idea like that. But I'm yeah.
That's really messed up of her.
Yeah, it's like our song was about like I've never heard this song until like the past 2 days. So like I don't know. I don't know what to say, but our it was about like the symbolism of sandcastle or a relationship being like a sandcastle where you work so
Yep.
hard and then it just disappears. So ours was a
Mhm.
little more emo than this one. Or actually no, they're about the same level of
Yeah.
emo.
I thought this one's really emo.
Yeah, I think this is the emotional like peak and like payoff
Yeah.
of the album.
Yeah.
There's nothing but piano and Queen Bee singing. So there you go.
And I feel like this is exactly like what kind of everyone would expect from like if she were to make art like based off of the situation like that. I don't know. Like that's what like the typical like expectation. And it definitely hits the spot. I feel like I know this is a very very cliche reference, but it's giving I feel like it like reminds me of Alive in Hamilton
Mhm.
where she's just it's just like her on the stage and she's talking about all these different things that happen. But like, yeah, the thing it's funny. I was looking like glancing at what I wrote, and the first bullet point is so what if I cried?
So what if I cried?
So what if I cried?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is definitely very
Mm-hmm.
intense. It's intense, but it's a different kind of intense from earlier. That was angry. This is like sad and like let's just make up, you know? And let's
And I
move forward.
Yeah.
That's
Good
so
one.
that's that's a real knee slapper right there.
So clever,
Yeah,
actually.
so funny. It's funny how she
But
did that.
she usually did that. But yeah, I think before we move on forward, the last thing I want to say is I think Sandcastles is like I mean it's kind of relates to forward, but it's just I feel like it's like the kind of like the net, like she's trying to catch everything before they move on. She's like trying to put everything on the table and like catch up all her feelings regarding it. Like it's like her final like release. Not final, but her big release. And I think that's
Yes.
powerful.
Forward. This is more of an
Forward.
interlude, honestly. I don't have much to say about it. I remember James Blake from like the Spider-Verse soundtrack. He did that. He does pretty good here. This is another good
Yeah.
feature.
I
But
wrote
it
Pop Off James Blake.
yeah. I don't have much to say. I will say
Yeah.
I had no idea when Forward and Freedom, for some reason, like most of the other songs, I kept track with, okay, this is when this one starts, yada yada yada. But for some reason I didn't keep track of that. And so all of a sudden, like Freedom was in full effect, but the transition was so smooth that I was like, no way. I was just like, yeah, I was freaking out. So
Yeah.
it's a smooth little transition. What do you think about this one?
I think yeah, I kind of disagree with everything you said. I think the label she has for this one is forgiveness. And I think it's like it's just very kind of like not telling that that's what it is. Just her deciding to move forward. But I think, yeah. I also I don't remember if she has a lot of spoken word on this one, but I know I did want to make the overall comment. Like the spoken word for this album is like crazy. It's like her like add-ins in the tracks, and also like you see more of it in the film. But yeah.
Cray cray.
Okay.
Freedom?
I
Freedom?
feel like this is a perfect song. Yeah.
The moment
This
we've all
one
been waiting for. Keelan's track of the album, Freedom,
Dylan's
featuring
track of
Kendrick.
the album.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. I feel like it's well deserved.
Oh my gosh, I lost my mind on this one.
Yeah.
Like the intro at the beginning when it kicked in and I still thought it was forward. I was like, and then it just like it's a sample, but then it's like I don't know, like rock inspired. Kendrick Lamar feature. Oh my goodness. Look at
Everything.
these lyrics. Look at
Yeah.
this. I noticed this before we started recording. 10 Hail Marys, Channel 9 News, 8 blocks left, 7. He's
I
like,
never saw that.
I was like, oh my gosh, they cooked on this one.
She cooked. And okay, something I looked up, like I think like probably a minute before we started recording, was I was like, there's no way, and like correct me if I'm wrong, please, anyone who is hearing these words come out of my mouth. Like this sounds like the perfect song for a movie. Like I feel like any like I don't know. And I looked it up. I was like, Beyoncé movie. And the only movie I could find was the Lemonade movie.
Good. Let's keep it that way. No, but the little like snippet that happens after uh every like chorus.
Yeah.
Like tell me that doesn't go hard. That goes hard.
I'm not gonna say that.
That goes so hard. But I think
But
this one, sorry, go ahead.
like I was just gonna say like the retro kind of like filter over a lot of the stuff I love. I feel like, yeah, I feel like so many people are a sucker for that. Like, yes, give me texture. I will eat it up every time.
Yes. I think this one is a big part of this is kind of the dual meaning of like obviously the events of getting cheated on and all that stuff. But then also just like I think somehow this song also speaks on, I don't know how it manages to do both, but it speaks on like black identity and the black experience at the same time. And I think
Yeah.
that's helped a lot by Kendrick's verse about like dodging and like keeping away from the law and stuff like that. But yeah,
I think this track, along with like 6 inches and Daddy Lessons, speaks a lot on black identity, but also like how it contrasts with like what is expected of like just like the contrast between how media portrays. Like I saw a lot of comments when I looked it up about like the everyone expects like Beyonce and just like black women in general to be strong all the time, and just like that is all they have to be. And I think this album does a like, I don't know, it just shines a light on that.
yeah. The last thing I have to say on this, and the last thing that was like the nail in the coffin that made me go, was
Yeah,
was this
the
last little
title.
part, the little name
Yeah.
drop. And I
Yeah.
saw that this is like a voice message from Jay-Z's mom,
Mm,
which makes it
I didn't know.
even crazier.
Crazy.
Crazy?
Crazy. I was crazy once.
I've never
Anyway,
heard that one. I've never heard that one before.
really?
Okay. So all night.
All night,
Let's,
yeah.
let's just move on. Um,
Yeah.
kiss up and rub up and feel up. I don't even know. What did I write? Hmm. Okay.
I think this one is kind of like just like kind of finding your footing back like where things kind of were. And like I don't know, through the whole album, like as we were talking about, like she's acknowledging the love that exists between them, well, most of the album. And I just think, I don't know, this one made me happy because like Beyonce wants nothing more to be in a loving relationship where she's allowed to I mean she feels like she can love the person she loves. But yeah.
Yeah, I think musically this one's interesting because it starts with like the guitar delay or like the echo sound, like wah, wah, wah. And then it has like the horns. This one might be besides Daddy Lessons, this might be like the most horn heavy song. So I think that's
Hmm.
cool. And then the thing that stood out to me was that after going through all that stuff, like that entire arc, this to me is like a traditional love song. Like
Yeah,
if this album did not exist, this would just be another Beyonce love song. Like just
that is
another,
exactly,
yeah,
yes.
yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I think like the bar that I think that she drops in this one that kind of like seals the deal for me. She goes, nothing real can be threatened. And like, so true. I don't know. It's just her like, yeah, nothing real can be threatened. And I feel like it's just her standing like this whole time, even though she's like been betrayed and like been going through her own arc, dealing with everything, she's always known that like what they have was something special. And I think, yeah.
Powerful, powerful stuff.
And
And
she
it's,
ends it,
go ahead,
what?
go ahead.
She ends it with, if you go, she ends it with like, how I missed you, my love. And how she ends the first track is like, what are you doing, my love? And I just feel like she ate. She ate.
She did, yeah.
She ate.
Speaking of eating, formation.
I thought you were about to like try and make like a food reference. I was like, what?
Nope.
Nope. this also has a lot to do with her country upbringing and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay,
this was
ladies,
just a
now let's get information.
yeah, it's just iconic all around.
It is.
I I was speaking with someone, and I think they said that this one they also thought was one that like derived from like the story aspect of the album. Like it was kind of like its own separate thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. This one kind of has a life of its own, this song.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what to make of it, especially like this really cool opening part that every serious Beyoncé fan seems to know the words to, aka not me. But there's like there are lots of references in here
Yeah.
that I like don't even fully understand. And so it'd be interesting to, I don't know, dissect this, but
Yeah.
yeah. I think this one is
Like
just iconic. I can't see. I'd be curious to hear the connection of this song to everything else, because to me, this is just like its own thing. I don't even know.
and I think like I don't know, the call and answer is just so like I don't know. It just makes you it gives you this like certain and I feel like a lot of her music. But like especially with an album that's like dark at times, it just gives you like this surge of confidence. Just I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with
She
it.
and she says if you cause something along the lines of like you cause all this conversation, you know you're her. Like you know you're that girl. Everyone because I feel like I don't know if this is true, but I was watching like a part of a video essay about this album, and it was basically saying that like everyone was kind of putting pressure on her to address the situation. And so I feel like that's kind of like because I don't know, like she's so right. Like if people are talking, what are they talking for?
Yeah. I mean,
Let's be a fan.
something that really just bugs me is like with songs like this that exist, like uh pushing for female empowerment, like women empowerment. It just really makes me feel like there's not enough stuff out there empowering men. I just don't really feel like represented.
I
I just don't feel supported. I thought you were, yeah, I had to make sure that you knew that that was a joke because you
for
looked
those
pretty serious. You looked pretty
for
serious for a
those
second.
for those watching, I was just like trying to like I was trying to like compute what was happening. I was like, huh. But no, I know.
This guy's
It's all
bugging
joke.
for real right now. This guy's bugging. What is
No,
he saying right now?
no, no,
All right,
no,
we
no.
ready for we'll skip the demo. We already mentioned it. You want to do closing thoughts?
Sure. Uh, close thoughts. I feel like I don't know if people would consider this her master work. Like we were talking about like, master puppets with Metallica, but I definitely like when I talk to Beyonce fans in my life, they're always like, "Oh, you have to listen to Lemonade," or like, "Oh, like Lemonade." They're always mentioning Lemonade, and I feel like it's such an iconic thing, like just an album. And I don't know. I think I don't. You can argue what her best album is, but I think this will always be like a standout in her career and just her art, and for good reason, for amazing reason. Yeah, I think it's a very vulnerable album, which I appreciate. And yeah, it hits all the right spots. I think it tells like a million stories only in like 40 minutes. So I mean, I don't know what more you could ask for.
Yeah, that's true. Um, I don't know. Maybe I would consider this her masterwork, and I haven't listened to it that much, but just the way that it like changed the trajectory of her whole career. Like she was still prominent, but this made her an entirely new girl boss. Like, and that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Um, yeah, I just think it's really it's neat, especially that there's a visual album. I'll have to check that out at some point. But I just think that this is really interesting, this album, because I actually looked up before I listened to it. I pulled up my computer, or on my phone or whatever. I just pulled up Google and I was like, "What is the meaning of Lemonade by Beyoncé?" Before I even listened to it, just so I could know and just have an idea. And it was like, "Yeah, so basically Jay-Z cheated on her." And I was like, "Oh, you asshole." But whenever I read that, I was like, "Oh, so it's just gonna be a, like a sad emo, like oh my gosh, like." But and
Did
it
you not
is,
know
and it is. Did I not know what?
that Jay-Z cheated?
I never knew that. I thought Jay-Z was just like a cool dude.
Oh,
He still is, but this was kind of
yeah.
shitty for him to do. But
Kind of
I didn't know that. But I was like, oh, this is just gonna be emo, and it's just gonna be like this might be my least favorite Beyonce album, is what I was thinking. And then I listened to
interesting.
it, and then there are songs like Freedom and Don't Hurt Yourself and Sorry, and I was like, she kind of cooked. She cooked really hard on this
Kind
one.
of. Yeah.
Kind of really cooked. And so,
Really.
yeah, this will be, as you can see, I have it saved to my library. I think this may become a regularly played album for me. So that's my take. And
Yes.
we can do scoring if you want.
I'm
We
admiring
can,
her fur coat. That's why I was zoning out.
me too, same. Um,
Same.
it's a pretty cool album cover. I don't remember what I gave Metallica, Master of Puppets, but this is definitely above that. So I'm hoping that the score I give is above it. So I'm just gonna go and say this is like an 8.9. Actually, you know what? I'll
Hmm.
say a 9. I'm just gonna say this is a 9.
This is a 10. That's
It's
what
a
I would say.
10.
This is my
Okay.
first 10. I think that well, I don't think we did numbers on the first two. Maybe
We
not.
didn't. We didn't.
10.
Yeah. Something I really appreciate about this one too is that it's like it's dense and there's a lot of stuff and like messaging
Mm.
and stuff like that. But I feel like it's equally as great as something like To Pimp a Butterfly. But and I'll do a little quick plug here before we wrap it up. So I've been listening to the Dissect podcast uh, that Spotify
Yeah.
has, and listening to all the stuff about Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly, and I'm about halfway through it, and I'm really enjoying it, and it's allowing me to like understand it a lot better. But it stinks because I feel like that album, you kind of need to do something like that to understand what's happening because there's just so much. But I feel like this one you
Yeah.
can understand what's happening a lot easier and it's equally as great. With that being said, I'm going to plug Dissect Podcast. I saw they have a whole like slew of episodes about Lemonade. So if
Mhm.
you're interested in that or if any of the listeners are interested in that, that's something you can check out. So,
Yeah. Who hosts it?
his this guy's
It's
name
like
is Cole Kushner. That's his
it's
name.
one. Is it
It's like
like just Cole?
it's like so To Pimp a Butterfly was season 1. I think as seasons go on, there might be different people or he might have co-hosts, but
Mm.
that's up for you to discover. And probably me as
Okay.
well. But
Yeah.
well,
Okay.
do you wanna plug our playlist one more time before we leave?
Yeah. Our playlist has basically, I think we've been doing it. Is it's called Tunes, referencing Talking Tunes. I know. Shout out for branding. Uh, but how we do it is we basically I think we've been playing like our top track for each album we cover, and then we also add a track for our album, and it's growing in size every week because we add 6 tracks for every episode. And yeah, it's very fun because I don't think for some of them we don't like plainly say what our favorite track is, so it's interesting to see what you add, especially since last week we had the same favorite track.
Yes.
But yeah. Yeah. But you should check it out. A lot of fun.
Definitely. Thanks for tuning in
Definitely.
to this one, to this episode.
Yes.
It's been great as always. Yapify
Yes.
signing off. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.